Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take a stack of articles, research, and our own notes, and we extract the most important nuggets of knowledge, giving you a shortcut to being truly well-informed. Today, we're plunging into a set of sources that unpack a stunning, really seismic moment in recent global soccer history.
Yeah, a match that sent ripples, like you said, through the entire club landscape and frankly made everyone sit up and take notice.
Definitely. We're zeroing in on a truly fascinating case study, Fluminense's decisive 2-0 victory over Inter Milan in the FIFA Club World Cup round of 16. That was June 30, 2025.
Indeed. And look, this wasn't just another win in a tournament bracket. It was an upset that absolutely defied expectations. And as we dug into the details, the sources really show it offered some profound, almost paradigm-shifting insights into the evolving nature of modern soccer.
That's right. So our mission today is to truly unpack exactly how this Brazilian side, often seen, let's be honest, as the underdog, managed to not only defeat the mighty Inter Milan, a team widely considered a European powerhouse, but to do so with what our sources emphatically describe as a tactical masterclass.
A masterclass, absolutely. We need to explore the key moments that turned the tide. Really delve into the tactical battles that played out on the field, highlight the individual heroics, because there were definitely some
For sure.
that made the difference, and ultimately consider what this, earth-shattering result really means for the future of global soccer, especially in the context of this new expanded tournament format.
Exactly. So let's unpack this. Okay,
Yeah.
let's set the stage because the context for this incredible upset is just crucial. Our sources immediately flag this as one of the tournament's most significant surprises. And, well, the more you dig into it, the more you understand why. What were the basic facts of this monumental clash that had the soccer world absolutely buzzing?
Right, so when we talk about this match, we're really talking about a pivotal moment in the inaugural expanded FIFA Club World Cup. It was around a 16 match, like you said, June 30, 2025. Fluminense, from Brazil, they secure a 2-0 victory against Inter Milan.
And not just any Inter Milan.
No, exactly. That's what truly elevates this result beyond a simple scoreline, as our analysis of the sources reveals. The stature of the opposition is key here. Inter Milan wasn't just some team participating. They were the reigning UEFA Champions League runners-up.
Right. Huge pedigree.
Immense pedigree, financial muscle, a squad absolutely brimming with world-class talent. So for Fluminense to not only win, but to keep a clean sheet against an adversary like that, well, it was a statement of intent that echoed across continents.
And the location itself adds such an interesting layer to this story, doesn't it? We're not talking about a classic European cathedral of soccer or even a packed, raucous Maracana in Rio.
Oh, not at all.
This match unfolded at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. And the conditions weren't exactly neutral either. It was played in sweltering 90-degree Saric heat, that's 32 degrees C, with a crowd of just over 20,000 people.
Yeah, relatively small for this kind of game.
You have to wonder, when you put a high-intensity European team in conditions like that, how much did that oppressive heat and humidity actually play a role in the physicality, maybe even the mental sharpness?
That's an absolutely critical point, and one that I think is often underappreciated in elite sports analysis. The venue, the specific climatic conditions, that intense 90-degree heat, and the humidity that comes with it, and even, like you said, the comparatively modest crowd of 20,000, 30.
Yeah.
For such a high-stakes international fixture, all become tangible factors. They can significantly impact player endurance. They dictate the pace of the game, potentially dulling that razor-sharp decision-making that defines top-tier European soccer.
Right.
For a team like Inter, who are accustomed to cooler European climates and often play at a relentless tempo, adapting to those conditions on the fly, well, that would have been a substantial challenge. But beyond these immediate environmental factors, our sources are very clear. This win carried immense symbolic weight.
Far beyond just the result on the day.
Exactly. Far transcending just securing progression in a knockout tournament. This was the first time since 2000, wow, think about that, a 13-year gap that a Brazilian club had managed to defeat European opposition in competitive action.
Wow, 13 years.
13 years. So this wasn't just a game. It was a powerful validation of FIFA's broader vision for a truly competitive global club championship. It emphatically signaled that the perceived and often very real gap between South American and European club soccer might just be closing. Or at the very least, that tactical ingenuity and sheer determination from South America can indeed overcome European financial and technical superiority on any given day.
A huge statement, then. So with a stage set for an upset, how did the goals themselves actually come about? Every single upset in soccer has its defining moments, right? Those critical junctures where the underdog seizes its chance and the favorite, maybe unexpectedly, falters. Let's dive into the specifics of Fluminense's clinical finishing, because the sources really hammer home just how efficient they were when their opportunities arose.
Yeah, efficiency is the key word. The first goal, as our sources detail, set an immediate and commanding tone. It happened incredibly early, which, psychologically is often a massive advantage in any knockout match.
Totally changes the dynamic.
Absolutely. German Cano, Fluminense's prolific striker, he opened the scoring in just the third minute. Now, this wasn't some solo wonder goal from 30 yards out.
Right.
It was more a testament to predatory instinct, being in the right place at the right time, and capitalizing on an opportunistic moment. It was a close-range header, coming from a deflected cross by John Arias, a player we'll definitely be talking more about. He was fantastic. And crucially, and this is where maybe a touch of fortune comes in for Fluminense, the ball squirmed, almost agonizingly for Inter, through the legs of their usually reliable goalkeeper, Jan Sommer.
Oh, Summer doesn't often make mistakes like that.
He really doesn't. While Sommer is undoubtedly a top-tier keeper, that split-second moment of misfortune, or perhaps a tiny lapse in concentration in the chaos of an early attack, allowed Fluminense to snatch the lead almost immediately. And for Cano himself, this was quite significant. It was his first tournament goal, and it came in his 200th appearance for Fluminense.
Wow, 200th appearance. Talk about timing.
Yeah, marking a personal milestone with an absolutely crucial strike that just ignited the belief for his team.
That early strike must have been absolutely monumental for Fluminense. It not only gave them the lead, but it also immediately allowed them to settle into their disciplined defensive shape, right? They could execute their game plan without the pressure of chasing the game.
Exactly. It gives you something solid to defend, something to build from.
Yeah. And then the sealer. The goal that absolutely, unequivocally locked in this historic victory.
Precisely. The second goal came very, very late in the game, which can be just as, if not more, deflating for the opposition as an early strike. It really put the nail in Inter's coffin.
Who got it?
Hercules. He came on as an impact substitute, and the effectiveness of Fluminense's substitutions is a fascinating point we'll definitely need to delve deeper into.
Okay.
He sealed the victory in the 90-plus third minute, deep into stoppage time. And look, it wasn't a lucky bounce or anything like that. It was a wonderfully composed left-footed finish from the edge of the box, slotted calmly and precisely into the bottom right corner, leaving Sommer with absolutely no chance.
Clinical.
Totally clinical. This wasn't just a tap-in. It was a demonstration of composure, technical quality, and mental fortitude under immense game-deciding pressure. And you can just imagine, it sent the small but very vocal Brazilian contingent, both on the field and in the stands, into absolute euphoria. This was also Hercules' first tournament goal, marking a decisive and truly unforgettable moment for him personally and, of course, for Fluminense as a club.
So Fluminense were ruthlessly clinical, taking their chances when they came and making them count. But what about Inter's attempts? Our sources paint a very clear picture. They had chances, multiple opportunities, moments where they seemed poised to equalize or even take the lead, but they simply couldn't convert. It sounds like a narrative defined by agonizing frustration for them.
Oh, the frustration was palpable.
Yeah.
You could almost feel it coming through the reports. It was like a character in itself throughout the match. And our sources detail several significant moments where Inter could have, and frankly should have, dramatically altered the outcome.
Like what?
Well, Lautaro Martinez, their captain, usually so clinical, right? He had a moment of pure agony when his shot cannoned off the post in the second half. Imagine the feeling when a shot that close from your captain doesn't go in.
Ugh, yeah. Deflating.
Incredibly deflating. A real psychological blow. Federico Dimarco, another key attacking threat, he also struck the crossbar. Another agonizingly close call that could have leveled the score or even given Inter a lead they probably felt they deserved based on possession metrics.
So close, yet so far.
Exactly. And beyond just hitting the woodwork, Fluminense's veteran goalkeeper, Fabio, played an absolutely massive role. He was immense. Our sources credit him with denying Sebastiano Esposito with excellent footwork, showcasing his continued agility and precise positioning, even at, well, his advanced age.
How old is he again?
44. Still pulling off saves like that.
Incredible.
And Stefan de Vries, a central defender who found himself up for a set piece, he also missed a close-range opportunity that, if converted, could have significantly altered the match's complexion. So these numerous, high-quality missed chances, they highlight a common and crucial theme in soccer upsets. the favorite's inability to capitalize on their moments.
Right. It just builds pressure.
It does. It often leads to a buildup of pressure, a creeping sense of desperation, and ultimately the unraveling of their game plan. It's a vivid story of the fine margins in high-stakes knockout soccer.
Here's where it gets really interesting, I think, where the genius truly came into play. Our sources emphatically emphasize that Renato Gaucho's tactical surprise was the match-defining factor. This wasn't just about individual moments. This was a grand strategic play, a chess master's move that paid off big time. What exactly did he do that caught Inter so completely off guard?
Yeah, this is where Gaucho really earned his paycheck. His real stroke of genius, as our sources highlight, was his decision to deploy an unexpected three-man defense.
Okay, three at the back.
Three at the back.
Yeah.
Which was a significant departure, not just for Fluminense's typical approach, but for many teams when they face these European giants. You often see teams try to match up, maybe go 4-4-2, or sit deep in a rigid four at the back.
Yeah, try to contain them.
Right. But Gaucho went for a genuine surprise, opting for a 3-4-1-2 formation. The specific lineup, just to paint the picture, Fallu in goal, obviously, then Freitas, the legendary Thiago Silva.
Still going strong.
Unbelievable. And Ignacio forming that critical back three. Then across the midfield, René, Martinelli, Bernal, and Donato providing energy and solidity. Arias playing that pivotal number 10 role behind the front two of Cano and Everaldo.
Okay, so quite specific roles there.
Very specific. And this tactical setup completely disrupted Inter's pre-match preparations and expectations. It forced them to adapt on the fly to something they simply hadn't prepared for. It was a bold move that created both defensive solidity and, crucially, immediate avenues for quick transitions.
And Inter, under Christian Chivu, they stuck to their preferred 3-5-2 system, didn't they? They brought out their usual formidable lineups: Sommer in goal, Darmian, De Vrij, and Bastoni in defense, Dumfries, Barella, Aslani, Mkhitaryan, and Dimarco across that five-man midfield, and Thuram and Lautaro Martinez up front.
Yep, their standard setup.
So on paper, it looks like a battle of similar formations, 3-4-1-2 versus 3-5-2, but with profoundly different tactical approaches and intentions, it sounds like. How did Fluminense's setup actually counter Inter's usual strengths?
Exactly. And this is precisely where the tactical chess match truly unfolded, with Gaucho consistently outmaneuvering his counterpart. Inter's approach is typically possession-heavy, right? They build patiently from the back, and they rely enormously on their dynamic wingbacks, Denzel Dumfries and Federico Dimarco, for width, attacking impetus, and to create those overloads down the flanks.
That's their bread and butter.
It really is. However, Fluminense's compact defensive block, combined with incredibly well-organized counterpressing, consistently suffocated and frustrated this strategy. Our sources specifically highlight that Fluminense's disciplined low block was not just sitting deep and soaking up pressure.
Right, it wasn't just parking the bus.
No, definitely not. It was active. It was actively neutralizing Inter's wide threats. They relentlessly closed down the space that Dumfries and Dimarco typically exploit, forcing Inter to play through congested central areas where Fluminense had numbers, or forcing them to resort to less effective, more predictable long balls.
Making their possession kind of useless.
Pretty much. This strategic brilliance made Inter's significant possession largely sterile. They dominated the ball, yes, the stats show that clearly, but they rarely truly threatened Fabio's goal from dangerous positions.
So it wasn't just about defending deep, essentially parking the bus, like some teams might, and hoping for a lucky break. It sounds like a far more sophisticated strategy. Defensive resilience, yes, but also a constant lurking danger on the counterattack, striking when Inter overcommitted or lost possession, almost like a perfect, audacious blend of defensive solidity and offensive opportunism.
Precisely. You've nailed it. Fluminense's tactical execution was near perfect. It was a masterclass in discipline and preparation, and a real testament to Gaucho's meticulous planning and, crucially, the players' unwavering commitment to the system.
They bought into it.
100%. They effectively absorbed Inter's possession advantage, deliberately allowing Inter to have the ball in less dangerous areas of the field, while simultaneously creating better quality scoring chances despite having significantly less of the ball themselves.
Quality over quantity.
Exactly. This powerfully illustrates how tactical acumen and a clear game plan can absolutely bridge a perceived gap in individual talent or financial resources. It's not just about who has the better players on paper. It's about who has the better plan and, crucially, who executes it flawlessly under pressure. Our sources indicate that Fluminense's quick transitions after winning the ball back were absolutely key. Well, they turned defense into attack in a heartbeat. exploiting the crucial spaces left behind by Inter's advanced wingbacks, Dumfries and Dimarco, who were often caught high up the pitch when possession was lost. This strategic brilliance demonstrated that purposeful, efficient play can decisively overcome statistical dominance if that dominance doesn't translate into genuine threat and, well, clinical finishing.
While tactics were undoubtedly the foundation of this victory, individual performances always shine in big games, don't they? Especially when the stakes are this incredibly high. Even the most brilliant tactical plan needs players to execute it perfectly under immense pressure. So, who truly stood out for Fluminense? And what about Inter's key players? How did they cope, or perhaps fail to cope, with the pressure?
Yeah, you need the players to deliver. For Fluminense, John Arias delivered an undeniable man-of-the-match performance, and it's abundantly clear from the reports why he earned that accolade. His pace and relentless movement were just a constant thorn in Inter's side, particularly their defense.
He was everywhere.
Pretty much. He wasn't just fast, he was direct, purposeful, and possessed this uncanny ability to consistently find dangerous pockets of space to exploit, particularly drifting between Inter's defensive lines. His influence was immediate and profound. Remember, he provided the assist for Cano's opening goal through that deflected cross.
Right. Crucial moment.
Absolutely. Arias's performance truly exemplified Fluminense's clinical and opportunistic approach. He was a vital catalyst in so many of their attacking transitions, seamlessly turning moments of defensive solidity into genuine offensive threats. His ability to carry the ball forward with purpose, combined with Cano and Everaldo, and provide that crucial final pass or shot, was absolutely fundamental in maintaining an attacking presence, even with less overall possession. He basically ran into ragged.
And the veteran players, particularly the ageless goalkeeper Fabio and the defensive rock Thiago Silva, they must have been absolutely crucial given their immense experience on the biggest international stages. That kind of calm, authoritative leadership and tactical awareness is just invaluable in high-pressure knockout matches like this one.
Absolutely invaluable. You can't buy that kind of experience. Their presence was priceless, providing an anchor of calm amidst the storm. Goalkeeper Fabio, at an incredible 44 years old.
Still blows my mind.
Right. He was nothing short of stellar. Our sources detailed his contributions, crediting him with producing 4 crucial saves throughout the match, each one vital in keeping Inter at bay during their periods of intense pressure. His denial of Sebastiano Esposito with truly excellent footwork showcased his continued agility and razor-sharp reflexes.
Still got it.
Absolutely. And his precise positioning and brave decision-making against Lautaro Martinez's attempts proved decisive in maintaining that clean sheet. He was a veritable rock in goal, completely defying his age.
And Thiago Silva?
Similarly, immense. At 40 years old, he provided instrumental defensive leadership from the heart of that back three. He was constantly marshaling his defensive partners. You could see him barking orders, organizing the shape, communicating tirelessly with his younger teammates, forging a cohesive unit that withstood Inter's relentless attacking waves.
Like a coach on the field.
Exactly. His ability to read the game with an almost preternatural calm, anticipate Inter's moves, and make crucial, often unnoticed, interceptions or blocks meant that despite Inter's pressure, they rarely found clear paths to goal. Together, Fabio and Silva formed an unbreachable defensive wall, leveraging their vast experience to guide the team through every critical moment.
On the Inter side, though, our sources paint a vivid picture of Lautaro Martinez's palpable frustration. He's usually such a dominant, clinical forward, a leader for his team, but it sounds like this match really got to him, perhaps mirroring Inter's overall struggles on the day.
Indeed. Lautaro Martinez's frustration was arguably one of the defining individual narratives for Inter in this match. It was visible. He hit the post, as we mentioned, which is bad enough.
Agonizing.
But he also saw several other promising chances go begging moments that on any other day you'd back him to convert with his eyes closed. This inability to find the net, combined with the team's overall disappointing performance in elimination, clearly boiled over for him afterwards.
What did he say?
His post-match criticism of his teammates' commitment levels was not only scathing but also very public. He stated, and this is a direct quote from the sources, "The message is clear. Whoever wants to stay, stay. Whoever doesn't want to stay should go. We need players who want to be here. We're wearing an important shirt."
Wow, that's strong stuff from the captain.
Very strong and very public. Coming from the captain after a trophyless season, it reflected deep-seated disappointment and strongly hinted at potential internal issues within the squad, maybe even a crisis of confidence. It raises an important question about leadership, accountability, and the fragility of team cohesion under immense pressure, especially when expectations are sky high and results aren't delivered.
Yeah, his individual struggle to find the net really seemed to mirror the team's collective failure to translate their perceived superiority and statistical dominance into effective match-winning action. This is where the narrative truly flips on its head for anyone just looking at the box score or the stat sheet. Inter Milan seemed to dominate, holding advantages in almost every conventional metric you could imagine, yet they shockingly lost the match 2-0. How do we make sense of that? How did the numbers in this instance tell a deeper, almost deceptive story than just the final score?
You've hit on one of the most intriguing paradoxes of this game, and something soccer throws up time and again. On paper, Inter Milan absolutely had numerical advantages across a multitude of categories. If you just looked at the raw data possession, shots, passes, you would confidently expect them to have won comfortably, maybe even by a wide margin.
What were the specific numbers?
Well, they boasted a massive 68% possession, compared to Fluminense's significantly lower share, 32%. That indicates they controlled the ball for, more than two-thirds of the game.
Seemingly. They registered 16 shots to Fluminense's 11, showing they were certainly attempting to score more frequently, creating more chances, quote-unquote. They won 5 corners to Fluminense's 2, which typically suggests sustained attacking pressure in and around the opponent's box. And furthermore, they maintained higher pass accuracy throughout the match, completing a staggering 721 passes compared to Fluminense's 314.
More than double the passes.
Exactly. These are all statistics that, in a conventional soccer match, would normally point towards a team being in complete control, dictating play, and generating a significant number of high-quality opportunities.
But the critical statistic, the one that truly cut through all that numerical dominance and revealed the stark, unforgiving truth of the match, was shots on target, wasn't it? That's where the efficiency or the profound lack thereof really showed. It's where the tactical masterclass came to life. Precisely. This is the stat that completely unravels the narrative of Inter's statistical dominance and makes it crystal clear why they lost. Despite all their possession, all these completed passes, and all their shot attempts, both teams managed just 4 shots on target each.
4 each, despite Inter having 16 shots overall.
4 each. Think about that for a moment. Fluminense, with roughly a third of the possession and fewer overall shots, put the same number of attempts on Fabio's goal as Inter put on Summers. This powerfully demonstrates Fluminense's ruthless clinical efficiency. They created fewer overall chances, yes, but the ones they did create were of higher quality, they were purposeful, and crucially, they converted 2 of them. 50% conversion rate on shots on target.
That's deadly.
Absolutely deadly.
Yeah.
In stark contrast, Inter's approach was incredibly wasteful. Their 16 shots yielded only 4 on target, and none of those, agonizingly for them, found the back of the net. It underscores a fundamental truth in soccer. The quality of chances and the absolute ability to convert them almost invariably triumphs over mere quantity.
So possession doesn't mean everything.
Not at all. Purposeful play, even with less of the ball, can definitively overcome statistical dominance if that dominance doesn't translate into genuine piercing threat in front of goal. It's a classic textbook example of how raw numbers don't always tell the full, nuanced story in a game as fluid and unpredictable as soccer.
And even the substitutions, the choices made by the coaches as the game wore on, played a significant role in this statistical and narrative story, directly impacting the final outcome. It wasn't just about the starting lineups, but how the coaches managed their benches, especially under those draining conditions we talked about.
They absolutely did. And this is another crucial area where Fluminense's tactical acumen, and perhaps Inter's misjudgment or desperation, shone through.
Yeah.
Fluminense's tactical substitutions proved to be remarkably more effective, directly contributing to the decisive moments of the match.
How so?
Well, Inter introduced a flurry of attacking players,
Yeah.
Luis Enrique, Valentin Carboni, Sebastiano Esposito, in a clear attempt, maybe even a desperate attempt, to break down Fluminense's organized defense as the clock ticked down.
Throwing attackers on.
Exactly. But none of them could find a way through. Their changes, despite bringing fresh legs and attacking talent, ultimately couldn't alter the fundamental flow or the outcome of the game. Fluminense's structure held firm.
And Fluminense's key sub.
Conversely, Hercules' introduction for the injured Martinelli was a pivotal moment for Fluminense. He didn't just come on and fill a gap, he scored the decisive stoppage time winner, directly contributing to the goal tally and sealing the victory. That's impact.
Huge impact, night and day compared to Inter subs.
It really highlights the difference in strategic thinking or maybe just fortune on the day. The disciplinary record also speaks to the intensity and competitive nature of the encounter. Inter received 2 yellow cards, Aslani and Bastoni, reflecting their growing frustration, perhaps. And Fluminense accumulated 4 bookings, René, Cano, and others later on showcasing their tenacious, uncompromising defensive effort. They weren't backing down.
Lots of yellows. Sounds feisty.
It was definitely competitive. But despite these heated moments and the physically demanding nature of the game, the referee, Ivan Arcides Barton Cisneros from El Salvador, managed the contest pretty well, according to reports, maintaining control despite the immense pressure from both sides.
No big soccer match, especially one with this kind of upset potential, is complete without some heated moments, a bit of drama, and perhaps a dash of controversy. It adds to the intrigue, doesn't it? What stood out from this game beyond just the goals and tactics? Were there flashpoints?
You're absolutely right. The drama off the ball often tells as much of a story as the action on it. The most talked about incident, and one that certainly injected some memorable drama, occurred right at the end of the first half in stoppage time.
Okay, what happened?
It involved Renato Gaucho, the Fluminense coach. He deliberately kicked the ball away from Inter's Henrik Mkhitaryan.
Picked it away.
Yeah, Mkhitaryan was trying to take a quick throw in. Inter were maybe building a bit of pressure before the break, and Gaucho just booted the ball down the touchline. Clearly done to prevent the quick throw, disrupt their momentum, slow the game down.
Cheeky.
Very cheeky. And this action immediately sparked a heated exchange between both benches. Players got involved, coaches were shouting, demonstrating the incredibly high tension and raw competitive spirit on display. It was a classic piece of gamesmanship, really.
That's textbook gamesmanship, isn't it? A coach actively interfering with play to gain an advantage, albeit maybe a minor one in the grand scheme. And he received a yellow card for it, right? Which is a clear sign that the referee viewed it as unsporting behavior.
He absolutely did receive a deserved yellow card under the rules of the game. You can't just kick the ball away like that.
But what was the perception of that act? Was it seen as just cynical?
Well, this is what's truly fascinating, how it was perceived, particularly back in South America. Brazilian media, as our sources note, actually widely praised it as street-smart gamesmanship.
Street smart, really?
Yeah. They saw it as a clever, albeit provocative tactic that helped cool Inter's momentum just before the halftime whistle, giving Fluminense a breather, allowing them to regroup. It highlights a fascinating aspect of competitive sports where coaches are constantly looking for any psychological or tactical edge, even if it's, borderline against the rules.
The dark arts.
Exactly. This kind of incident shows a fine line between calculated disruption and unsporting conduct, and how perception can drastically differ based on allegiance or even cultural interpretation of the game. It just underscores that every element, even the off-ball antics, can become a critical part of the tactical and psychological battle in a high-stakes match.
And there was a VAR review, too, which is almost a given in modern high-stakes matches. Was that a controversial one, or was it handled smoothly, unlike some of the chaotic scenes we'd sometimes see with VAR?
Yeah, there was a VAR review. Thankfully, this one ultimately played out without major controversy, which is always a positive for the integrity of the match and the flow of the game. It occurred in the first half when a header from Fluminense's Ignacio hit the back of the net.
Another goal.
Well, initially thought to be a goal, sparking big celebrations from the Fluminense players. But the VAR correctly intervened and ruled it out for offside. Apparently quite clearly offside once they drew the lines.
Okay, so straightforward then.
Seems so. The decision was accepted by both teams without significant protest, indicating it was a clear call once reviewed and confirmed. This simply highlights again those fine margins we talked about in these high-stakes encounters. A few inches here or there, a fraction of a second in the timing of the run, and the entire complexion of the game can change in an instant. It's a powerful reminder that even when teams are playing at their absolute best, the smallest details can have monumental consequences in soccer.
Beyond the on-field actions and the tactical decisions, the extreme heat conditions you mentioned earlier must have also contributed significantly to the overall atmosphere and truly challenged the players physically. It's one thing to run for 90 minutes, it's another to do it in that kind of heat.
They absolutely did, and it's a factor that really deserves more attention when analyzing this result. The 90 degrees F, 32 degrees C conditions in Charlotte weren't just uncomfortable. They posed significant additional challenges for both teams, adding another crucial layer of tactical consideration and physical demand to the match.
How bad was it?
Our sources specifically mentioned that multiple players required medical attention due to the heat, which speaks volumes about the exhausting nature of playing at that intensity in such temperatures.
Mhm.
Imagine trying to sustain Inter's typically high-pressing, fluid game when your lungs are burning, your muscles are cramping, and sweat is stinging your eyes.
Yeah, must have been brutal.
Did we see Inter's typically razor-sharp decision-making maybe dull a bit as the minutes ticked by in that oppressive humidity? It's hard to say for sure, but it's a valid question. For Fluminense, perhaps slightly more accustomed to playing in heat, maybe this environment even became a subtle tactical advantage, turning the stadium into an even more hostile fortress for their European opponents.
Interesting point.
Furthermore, it was noted that officials even invited upper deck spectators to move down to lower sections because the attendance was a bit sparse up there, likely due to the direct sun and heat. These environmental factors aren't just background noise. They contribute significantly to player fatigue, increase the likelihood of errors, and fundamentally influence the overall pace and energy of the game, making tactical discipline and efficient play even more paramount. It's a true testament to the players' conditioning and mental toughness that they could perform at such a high level in those grueling conditions.
So, what does this all mean beyond the final whistle? Beyond the 90 minutes of captivating soccer, what were the immediate repercussions and broader implications for both clubs and for global soccer as a whole? This kind of upset doesn't just disappear once the final whistle blows, it sends shockwaves, right?
Absolutely. The ripple spread far and wide. The most significant immediate fallout, particularly for Inter Milan, came directly from their captain, Lautaro Martinez. His scathing post-match criticism, which we touched on, sent shockwaves throughout the club and garnered immense media attention across Europe.
Yeah, calling out commitment levels is serious.
Very serious. His public challenge to his teammates' commitment following a season that ultimately ended without silverware for Inter highlighted deep underlying frustration and pointed to potential internal issues, maybe even a crisis of leadership within the squad. Remember that quote, "Whoever wants to stay, stay. Whoever doesn't want to stay should go."
You don't usually hear captains say that publicly.
You really don't. This isn't just a moment of disappointment. It's a very public airing of grievances that can have lasting, damaging effects on team morale, directly influence future transfer decisions, and reshape leadership dynamics for the coming season. It raises important questions about the pressure on elite players and the fragility of a high-profile team's cohesion after a campaign falls short of expectations.
And for Renato Gaucho, the Fluminense coach, it was nothing short of complete vindication for his audacious tactical gamble. He took a calculated risk, a big one, and it paid off spectacularly on the biggest club stage. His reputation as a shrewd tactician must be soaring after this.
Absolutely. His tactical vindication was complete, proving his genius on a global platform. His bold decision to deploy three central defenders, a setup that caught Inter completely unprepared and destabilized their usual attacking patterns, proved to be an undisputed masterstroke.
And he had that great quote afterwards, too.
He did. He famously explained his approach, and our sources quote him succinctly stating, "I put it in their heads that it would work. Inter is a great team. They have much more money than us, but on the field, it's 11 against 11.
Love that. Classic underdog mentality, but backed up by brilliant tactics.
Exactly. This quote perfectly encapsulates the essence of his strategic success. It underscores his profound belief in his players, his unwavering confidence in his tactical plan, and his ability to instill that belief despite the significant financial and perceived talent disparity between the two clubs. It also serves as a powerful testament to the tactical sophistication of South American coaching, demonstrating that innovation, belief, and meticulous preparation can indeed overcome traditional advantages. This victory undoubtedly cements his reputation as one of the most shrewd, courageous, and successful tacticians in global soccer right now.
This result also had very significant financial implications, didn't it? Beyond the glory and the bragging rights, there's a very tangible monetary impact in a tournament with such a massive prize fund. Every progression means more resources, especially for a club like Fluminense.
Massive implications indeed. The financial stakes in this inaugural expanded FIFA Club World Cup are truly unprecedented, with an astonishing $1 billion fund reportedly on the line for participating clubs across the tournament.
$1 billion! Wow!
Huge money. So Fluminense's progression to the quarterfinals secured them additional substantial prize money from this fund. For a Brazilian club, this is absolutely crucial. It provides vital revenue that can be strategically reinvested into the squad, perhaps for player acquisitions, improving infrastructure, strengthening their youth development academies. This financial injection can be genuinely transformative for their long-term stability and competitiveness.
And for Inter.
Conversely, Inter Milan missed out on potential earnings of over $20 million, that's the figure quoted in some sources, in additional progression payments by being eliminated at this round of 16 stage.
$20 million is a big hit, even for Inter.
It's a significant sum. This stark financial disparity underscores the incredibly high stakes of these competitions beyond just sporting glory. For clubs, especially those operating outside the absolute European financial elite, progression in tournaments like this can genuinely mean the difference between financial stability and having to make difficult choices regarding their future. It's a powerful illustration of how sporting success directly impacts economic health and strategic planning in modern soccer.
Finally, let's connect this to the bigger picture. Our sources describe this as a watershed moment for the inaugural 32-team FIFA Club World Cup. What does this victory truly symbolize on a global scale for soccer, and what might it mean for the future of the game? It feels significant beyond just one match.
It feels very significant. This result strongly and unequivocally validates the expanded format's core objective, promoting competitive balance on a global scale. Fluminense's advancement to face Al Hilal in the quarterfinals.
And Al Hilal had their own massive upset, right? Beating Man City.
Exactly. Al Hilal's stunning 4-3 extra-time victory over Manchester City was another truly significant upset in the same round. So Fluminense beating Inter and Al Hilal beating City ensures that at least two non-European teams reach the final 8 of this elite global tournament.
That's huge for FISA's vision.
Incredibly significant. It directly dismantles the long-held assumption, almost a given in previous formats, that the latter stages of global club tournaments would be exclusively dominated by European powerhouses. It's a powerful statement for FIFA's vision of a truly global competition, proving that clubs from all confederations can genuinely compete at the highest level and that the expanded format is indeed delivering on its promise of diversity in competitive outcomes. It's not just a European invitational anymore, it's shaping up to be a genuine global contest.
It certainly hints at a potential shifting power dynamic in global club soccer, challenging the established order that has seen European clubs dominate for so long. This wasn't just a fluke. It seems to be part of a larger trend, or at least a very real possibility for the future.
It absolutely does, and this is perhaps the most profound takeaway. This match symbolized how South American tactical discipline, meticulous organization, and unwavering mental resilience proved superior to European technical superiority and vast financial resources in this specific instance. Now, it's not about declaring one continent definitively better than the other.
Of course not.
But it's acknowledging that ingenuity, collective effort, and meticulous preparation can profoundly level the playing field. Our sources highlight this stark contrast in resources. Fluminense's entire squad valuation pales in comparison to Inter's staggering reported roster value of around 721.8 million.
700 million euros difference. That's insane.
It's a massive disparity. Yet despite this enormous financial gap, tactical preparation, sheer mental resilience, and ruthless clinical execution proved decisive. This challenges the deeply ingrained notion that financial might guarantee success in soccer. It powerfully suggests that while money certainly buys incredible talent, it doesn't buy guaranteed victories, especially against well-drilled, highly motivated opponents who have a superior and perfectly executed game plan.
It's a reassertion of the human element, maybe? Strategy over spending?
I think so. The power of collective strategy, of belief over pure economics.
And this win also strongly suggests a continued renaissance for Brazilian soccer, particularly showing that the tactical depth and player development in CONMEBOL, the South American Confederation, are really coming to the fore on the global stage.
Yes, Brazilian soccer's renaissance undeniably continued and was amplified by this victory. Our sources note that multiple Brazilian clubs reached the knockout stages of this very tournament, which is definitely not an accident. It demonstrates the Confederation's growing strength, its tactical evolution, and the robust quality of their player development pipelines.
It's not just Fluminense, then.
No, it's broader than that. This isn't an isolated incident or a flash in the pan. It provides crucial validation for Contombol's approach to player development and tactical sophistication. It shows a deep-seated commitment to strategic play, a strong focus on collective effort, and a robust pipeline of talent that can genuinely compete with the world's best, beyond just exporting individual brilliance to Europe. Fluminense's win wasn't just a singular upset, it's part of a broader, exciting trend that indicates a significant resurgence of South American clubs on the global stage, making these international club competitions even more compelling, unpredictable, and truly global.
Wow, what a deep dive into a truly fascinating soccer match. Fluminense's 2-0 victory over Inter Milan wasn't just a scoreline. It was, as we've discussed, a powerful statement about the evolving landscape of modern soccer. We've seen how tactical discipline, clinical finishing, unwavering commitment, and maybe even a bit of that street smarts we talked about can overcome significant financial and talent disparities. It's a story that really continues to resonate long after the final whistle blew.
This match will undoubtedly be remembered as a pivotal moment when FIFA's expanded Club World Cup vision truly began to materialize a global competition where continental champions can authentically compete on equal terms regardless of economic advantages. For Inter, well, it was a disappointing, frustrating, and arguably soul-crushing end to a season that promised much but ultimately delivered no trophies, highlighting potential internal struggles and a definite need for serious introspection.
Yeah, big questions for them.
Big questions. But for Fluminense, it opened the door to potential glory, propelling them into the quarterfinals and, crucially, securing vital resources for their future.
Yeah.
Massive boost.
And perhaps the most significant takeaway, as our sources so powerfully suggest, is that in knockout soccer, tactical acumen and flawless execution can genuinely trump possession statistics, individual brilliance, and even raw financial power. It's a timeless lesson, isn't it? Perfectly delivered on the world's biggest club stage, reminding us all that the game is truly played on the field, with strategy and heart, not just on paper or in the balance sheets.
Which leads to an important question for you to ponder, listener, as you go about your day. In a world increasingly dominated by immense financial power in sports, can tactical genius and collective resilience consistently provide a pathway for the underdog to triumph? What does Fluminense's victory suggest about the long-term future of global club soccer? And will other teams, perhaps from less financially robust leagues or confederations, take similar lessons from their masterclass, potentially changing the way clubs approach these international competitions? Something to think about.
Definitely something to think about. Keep those questions in mind. Thanks for diving deep with us.